Hey, what's going on everyone? In this short video, we're going to be taking a look at 3 Gurren Lagann figures from Good Smile Company's Pop-Up Parade line of figures. You just know with Gurren Lagann being my favorite anime that I just had to pick up all 3, right? We'll run through each one individually, then at the end we'll wrap everything up. Feel free to check the timestamps in the description too, if you want to skip to a specific figure. Alright, now let's jump right in by looking over this Simon figure. Just like my view on Gunpla, I really value anime accuracy in my figures. Thankfully, these pop-up parade figures tend to go for a more anime accurate appearance. While this Simon has a slightly softer or rounder appearance compared to the more jagged lines of the anime, this is still about as anime accurate as you can get. The head sculpt, for example, is basically perfect. The face is exactly how it appears on screen, with his large eyes in perfect proportion to the rest of the head. The hair is also fantastically done, having exactly the right amount of spikiness. Then we have these goggles, which have a nice matte finish to them. While I could see these being transparent, I'm willing to bet they would have ended up looking a little dull, considering they're going over dark blue hair. This nice matte finish really helps the yellow stand out. I'm also really impressed with the core drill in his hand. The paint application here is very well done considering the size. The gray and yellow have very good separation, and there's even a little channel for the spiral. Part of me thinks I might actually be able to panel line this. Everything about this Simon figure syncs up very well with how he appeared in the anime, and I'm really impressed with how great these paint applications are. However, just like how this appearance is anime accurate, well, so is his height. Yeah, this Simon figure is only around 6 inches tall, and one of those inches is just his arm reaching upwards. Of course, he was made to be in scale with the other 2 figures, so it makes sense for him to be this small. But still, he really should be selling for a lower price. Also, he doesn't come with any additional gimmicks or swappable parts. What you see here is what you get. Honestly, as much as I really like this appearance and all these details, I really can't recommend picking up this pop-up parade Simon on his own. You're just not really getting your money's worth here. However, there is a case to be made for if you're also picking up this Kamina. In comparison to how tiny that Simon figure was, this Kamina figure is just massive. Really, he's standing at close to 8 inches tall with his arm reaching upwards, and yet he still sells for around the same price Simon did. He also has this flowing cape behind him that really adds some bulk to this statue. You might actually need to clear some space on your shelf for this guy. Like that Simon figure, I'm also a huge fan of how accurate these details are to the anime. You'll notice this figure has all his tattoos perfectly recreated, even having this back tattoo that you'll likely never get to see considering it's behind this cape. The wrappings on his arms and waist have also been faithfully recreated, along with this red stripe on the ankles. This is just great attention to detail for what many would consider to be a more budget-friendly figure. This cape is also pretty well done, having the iconic Dai Gurren symbol placed perfectly on the back. The bottom of the cape also flares out into these jagged edges that look really amazing, especially with these orange highlights. While their paint isn't as crisp around the edges as I'd like, they still go a long way in adding style to this cape. One of the major pluses this Kamina figure has over the Simon figure though, is an optional piece for the head that removes his sunglasses. That's kinda blasphemy in my opinion, but you know, if you wanted to remove the sunglasses, you do have that option. Overall, this Kamina figure is just amazing, and it's honestly my favorite of these 3 figures. Plus, he actually gives you a reason to pick up the Simon figure, as the 2 look great when posed together. They're both reaching towards the heavens, and it just looks amazing. Of course, we do have one more figure to run through here, and that's this pop-up parade Yoko. Like the other 2 figures, her detailing is fantastically done. All these flame effects are painted perfectly, and there's some great attention to detail on these zippers on the boots, studs on the belt, and gold details on the wrist. There's even a little bit of yellow for the ties on her back. It's really amazing how great these details are. While her proportions are a little exaggerated, even by Yoko standards, she looks just as she does in the anime. I also really like these sunglasses. While I could see these having a matte finish like Simon's, going with transparent instead lets her bright red hair really shine through. The hair itself is also really well molded. It even has her iconic skull emblem molded in. All this detailing is just amazing, especially given the smaller size of these figures. However, I'm not the biggest fan of this pose. Her pose just really doesn't fit with the other two. She also has this weird angled running shot that looks like she's about to fall over at any second. I really would have liked a pose that connected better with the other two. It's also worth pointing out that this Yoko doesn't actually come with any additional parts. Just like that Simon figure, what you see here is what you get. However, considering how great these details are, I really can't complain. This figure is a little on the smaller side though, but nowhere near as bad as that Simon figure. She stands at about the same 6 inches, but feels so much taller, given she isn't relying on her pose for height. Overall, this Yoko figure is definitely worth picking up, especially if you only plan to pick up one of these figures. Alright, and that should about cover it. Having bought the whole set, I'm really pleased with how these turned out. I'm a huge fan of how accurate they are to the anime, and the great attention to detail. These Kamina and Yoko figures specifically look really amazing, with all these little details painted up properly. While the Simon figure feels a little underwhelming, he makes up for it when he's standing next to this amazing Kamina figure. I would have been just as happy if these two were sold as a package deal, as that's really where they shine. Even though this Yoko figure may not connect to the other two pose-wise, she's still a great buy and works well as a standalone figure. All three of these figures are great buys for any Gurren Lagann fan. And that should about do it. Let me know if there's any more info you'd like me to cover in these figure reviews. I'm thinking they'd be great short videos that I could just toss into those more in-depth Gundam reviews. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you next time.